Baby, my love, before I say what I'm about to say, I need you to breathe with me for a moment, because what I'm about to tell you isn't just a story, it isn't just another apology, and it isn't some dramatic outburst I'll regret later. This is the truth I've been keeping locked behind my ribs for so long that it almost feels like it's grown roots in my bone. And even though every instinct in me says to protect you from it, to keep smiling and pretending, I can't anymore. Not when I see the way you look at me, with eyes that believe I'm someone far better, far braver, far purer than I really am. The truth is, I'm not who you think I am. The truth is, I'm a shadow of the person you fell in love with, and I've been terrified that the moment you see the whole of me, you'll never be able to love me the same way again. Do you remember the first time we talked for hours, and it felt like the world outside us didn't even exist? How every laugh, every glance felt like we were building something unshakable. You thought you saw me then. Every detail, every flaw, every spark. But baby, what you saw was the version of me I wanted you to meet. Not the version that wakes up in the dark wondering how I got here. Not the version that's haunted by choices I can't undo. Not the version that's afraid you'd run if you knew what I've done, where I've been, and the parts of me that still ache to this day. I've been walking through life like an actor playing a role, rehearsing my lines, keeping my mask polished so no one sees the cracks underneath. But with you, the mask feels heavier than it's ever been, because when I'm with you, I don't want to wear it. I want you to know the real me. But the real me isn't as perfect, isn't as untouchable, isn't as strong as you've been led to believe. The real me has made mistakes, broken promises, hurt people I loved, and even turned away from myself more times than I care to admit. And yet, here you are, loving me like I've never been anything but pure. And here I am, wondering how long before you realize I'm not the hero in this story. I've been the villain in someone else's chapter before. And maybe, deep down, I'm still afraid that I could be the villain in yours. Baby, the truth I've been holding back is heavier than anything I've ever carried. And I need you to understand it didn't come from a place of wanting to deceive you. It came from fear. Fear that if you saw all of me, the way I've seen myself in my weakest moments, you'd turn away. There's a side of my past I've kept sealed because it's tangled in pain, regret, and choices that reshaped me into someone I swore I'd never become. I've smiled in front of you, laughed with you, planned futures with you, all while knowing there was a part of my story I hadn't allowed you to read. And every time you looked at me like I was your safe place, I felt both loved and unworthy. You've loved me without knowing the nights I stayed awake, replaying moments I wish I could erase. You've trusted me without realizing there were days I didn't trust myself. You've given me your heart without realizing mine has scars you've never seen. Before you, I had built walls so high that even I couldn't see over them. I told myself that if I just kept moving forward, I could leave behind the mistakes and the pain. But love doesn't work like that, baby. Love has a way of finding every locked door and quietly turning the key. And you've been that key. You've unlocked pieces of me I thought were gone forever. And that's why telling you this feels so dangerous. Because once I say it, there's no going back to the version of me you thought you knew. There's no unhearing it, no pretending it doesn't change things. The truth is, I've been more broken than I've ever admitted. I've been the reason someone else cried themselves to sleep. I've let people down in ways that kept me awake for years. I've run from situations that needed me to stay, and I've stayed in places that were slowly destroying me. I am not proud of every chapter in my story, and some of those chapters I never wanted you to read. But here's the thing. I don't want to keep hiding from you. I don't want to keep playing a role where you only love the best parts of me. If we're going to have something real, you need to know the parts that still ache, the wounds that still bleed, and the fears that still whisper to me in the dark. Because love isn't just about sharing smiles and good days. It's about holding on through the storms too. I'm not asking you to excuse my past or to erase it with your love. I'm asking you to stand here with me in the truth, to see me for all I am, flawed, imperfect, still learning, and decide if I'm still the one you want, baby. There's no easy way to say this, but I've been living with a shadow in my heart for a long time. One that I tried to hide so well you wouldn't notice. Every time you smiled at me, I told myself I'd tell you tomorrow or next week or when the moment felt right. But that moment never came, because deep down, I was afraid the truth would cost me you. I've worn a mask in front of the world for years, and even with you, the one person I wanted to trust with everything, I kept it on longer than I should have. I told myself I was protecting you from my darkness, but really, I was protecting myself from losing you. I've been someone's hero in one moment and their biggest disappointment in the next. I've fought battles you've never seen, and I've lost ones I didn't even tell you I was fighting. There are scars on my soul from mistakes I made before I even knew you, and some from after we met. Mistakes I wish I could take back, but can't. I need you to understand, baby. I didn't hide these things because you weren't worthy of knowing. I hid them because I felt unworthy of you. You've always seen the good in me, the light, the parts that made you believe in us. But there's another side, one that's been shaped by regret, by moments of weakness, by decisions I wish I could rewrite. And I know that once you see that side, you can't unsee it. The truth is, I've failed people I loved. I've walked away when I should have stayed. I've let pride speak louder than love, and I've chosen silence when I should have fought for what mattered. Every choice left a mark, and even if I've grown since then, those marks are still there. I've been carrying them like heavy stones in my chest, afraid that if you knew their weight, you'd decide you couldn't carry me with them. But love can't live in half-truths, and I can't ask you to keep loving only the part of me that's easy. If you're going to love me, I need you to love all of me, the broken, the healed, the still healing. I need you to know that I'm not a perfect man, but I am a man who's willing to stand here, stripped of excuses, and tell you everything, even if it scares me. Because if we're going to last, it can't be built on what you think I am. It has to be built on what I truly am. And if after hearing it all you still choose me, then I'll know we're unshakable. And if you can't, at least I'll know I was finally honest with you. Baby, I've carried this truth like a stone in my chest for so long that sometimes I forget what it's like to breathe without it pressing down on me. Every moment we've shared, every laugh, every late-night conversation, we built those on the parts of me I chose to show you. quiet hours when you weren't around to see. I've stood in front of a mirror and barely recognized the man staring back. You think you know me because you've seen my love, my loyalty, my softer side. But love, there's a darker story etched beneath that surface, one I've never allowed you to read. Not because I didn't trust you, but because I didn't want to risk you seeing me differently. I have been the reason someone cried themselves to sleep. I have been the storm in someone's life when they were already drowning. I have chosen the wrong people over the right ones. I have walked away from hands that were reaching for me because I was afraid of what it meant to truly hold on. There were days when I convinced myself I was the victim, when in reality I was the one walking away before I could be left behind. And baby, some of those choices, they left stains I can't scrub off, no matter how hard I try. That's the man I've kept hidden from you. The man I didn't want you to know. But here's what I've learned through all of it. Pain changes you, but it doesn't have to destroy you. Every wrong turn I've taken, every heart I've broken, every mistake I've made, they've all carved out pieces of me, shaping me into someone who can finally understand the value of what I have with you. I don't want to be the man who loves you halfway, hiding behind walls and hoping you never see over them. I want to stand here, bare and unguarded, and tell you the things that scare me most, because maybe then you'll understand the depth of my love. You deserve the truth, not the polished version I show the world, but the raw, unfiltered reality of who I am. And if after hearing all of this you still choose to love me, I will spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret it. But I need you to know that this is my moment of honesty, the one I've been avoiding for far too long, because no matter how much it terrifies me, losing you because I lied would hurt far more than losing you because I told the truth. Baby, every time I looked at you, I wondered how long I could keep my mask on before the truth began to slip through the cracks. I'd hold your gaze, memorizing the way your eyes softened when you smiled at me, and I'd think, if she only knew, would she still look at me like that? You've seen the man who tells you you're safe, who promises he'll never hurt you, who swears he'd choose you over the rest of the world. But you haven't seen the man who once let people down without even realizing it. The one who let pride speak louder than love, who let silence ruin what could have been saved, who thought walking away was easier than staying to fix the mess. I never wanted you to meet that version of me, because I'd been trying so hard to bury him. But bearing a part of yourself doesn't erase it. It just makes the weight heavier. And baby, I've been carrying this weight into every hug, every kiss, every word I've whispered in the dark. You've been loving me without knowing the whole story, and I hate that. I hate that I've made you give your heart to a man who's been rationing out pieces of his own. I used to think I was protecting you from the truth, but now I see I was really protecting myself from the possibility that you'd see me differently. There were nights I lay awake, replaying moments from my past like broken film strips, faces I hurt, promises I didn't keep, times I chose myself over the people who would have chosen me in a heartbeat. I told myself I've changed, and in many ways I have, but the fear that you might see me through the lens of those mistakes has been choking me, and the longer I kept it from you, the bigger it became, until now it feels like it's either tell you or lose myself completely. And maybe you'll hear this and walk away. Maybe you'll decide I'm not the man you thought I was, that the love we've built isn't strong enough to survive the shadows of my past. But if you stay, if you hear this and still want me, then I promise you something I've never promised anyone. No more half-truths, no more hiding. You'll get the real me, all of me, even the parts I don't like, because I would rather lose you for the truth than keep you with a lie. Baby, the truth I'm about to tell you isn't just about the man I was. It's about the man I am when no one's watching. You've seen me in my light, but you haven't seen me in my shadows. And I'm not talking about simple flaws or little quirks. I'm talking about the nights I've sat alone in my room staring at the ceiling, replaying every mistake like a song I can't skip. The truth is, I've been terrified of you, knowing every layer of me, because I didn't want your love to shrink when you saw the whole picture. I told myself, just keep the best parts on display. But baby, love built on half-truths isn't love, it's theater. There were times I'd start to open up, but my throat would tighten, because the words felt like they would destroy the image you held of me. And you've been the one person I couldn't bear to disappoint. You think I've been strong for you, but in reality, you've been the strong one. Carrying this relationship without knowing you were carrying me too. You've trusted me without knowing that trust was the very thing I didn't think I deserved. And here's where it hurts the most. The man you've been falling for, he's a part of me, yes, but he's not all of me. There are scars I've covered, not because I'm ashamed you'd see them, but because I've been afraid you'd feel them too. There are choices I've made, selfish, reckless choices that I've never admitted out loud. And the longer I kept them buried, the more I realized that I wasn't giving you the chance to truly choose me. Because how can you choose someone when you don't know every truth that shapes them? But I'm done hiding, because the truth is, I want to see how deep your love runs. I want to know if it's strong enough to hold me when I'm stripped of every mask. I'm ready to stand here, flaws exposed, mistakes laid bare, and see if you'll still take my hand. And if you can, if you do, then baby, I swear you'll have the real me, messy, raw, unfiltered. No more masks, no more pretending. Just me praying you'll still see something worth loving. Baby, you think you've been in love with my honesty. But the truth is, you've only ever been in love with the version of me I allowed you to see. I've let you hold my hand in the daylight, but I've kept you far from the dark rooms in my mind. You've touched my skin, but never the fears underneath it. I let you love my victories, but I kept my losses locked away like they were too dangerous for you to touch. I told myself it was protection, keeping you safe from the weight of my past. But baby, deep down, I was protecting myself from the possibility of you walking away. I've played this role so well that sometimes even I believed it. Smiling at you while hiding the storms. Laughing with you while the memories of my worst days clawed at my back. You thought you were loving a man who had it all figured out. But really, you were loving a man who was still trying to glue his pieces together before they cut you too. There were moments I wanted to tell you everything, to pour every scar and sin into your hands. But the fear that you'd look at me differently was enough to keep me silent. I thought I was protecting our love, but I was starving it instead. You see, love isn't built in the moments we shine. Love is tested in the moments we shatter. And I've never let you see me shatter. I've never let you see the side of me that wakes up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat from dreams I can't escape. I've never let you see the side of me that freezes when someone says certain words, because those words take me back to a place I swore I'd never return. I've never let you see the way I still punish myself for mistakes I made years ago. Baby, you've been loving my armor, not my wounds. But here's what you need to know. I'm not confessing this to push you away. I'm saying this because I can't keep living like a man who's hiding from the only person he ever truly wanted to be known by. If you're going to love me, then you're going to love all of me, the dark, the light, and every shade between. I'm not asking for pity. I'm asking for a chance for us to build something that can't be shaken by secrets. A chance for you to choose me, fully aware of who I am when no one's watching. And if you still take my hand after hearing this, then baby, maybe, just maybe, I'll finally believe that I'm worth being loved in my entirety. Baby, every time I looked into your eyes, I wanted to tell you the truth. I wanted to let the walls crumble and let you see the real me, the broken boy behind the man you think you know. But every time the words rose in my throat, fear dragged them back down, like an anchor pulling me into the deep. I kept telling myself, not now, they're not ready yet. But the truth is, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to see the look in your eyes change. I wasn't ready to risk the way you hold my hand or the way you say my name. So I hid, baby. I became an expert at giving you just enough of me to make you feel close, but never enough to risk you knowing the whole story. And this is where I've been wrong. Because love, real love, doesn't survive in the shadows. It needs light. It needs exposure. And I've been starving our love of that. You've been building a life with a version of me that's been edited and polished. You've been holding the parts of me that are safe to hold. But what about the parts that aren't? What about the parts that might cut you if you're not careful? Do you still want those? Because that's where the truth of who I am lives, in those jagged edges. I've made mistakes, baby, not just the kind you forgive and forget. No, the kind that haunt you, the kind that make you wake up at 3 a.m. and wonder if you even deserve the love you're being given. I've let people down who didn't deserve to be let down. I've chosen silence when I should have spoken. I've run when I should have stayed. And the worst part, I never let you see those moments. I only showed you the man I am after I've cleaned the blood off my hands. But love can't just be about loving me at my best. It has to be about loving me at my most unlovable. You've always been so open with me, so willing to let me see every crack, every fear, every insecurity you carry. And I thought I was protecting you by not doing the same. But really, I was creating a distance between us that you could never close because you didn't even know it existed. And now I'm here, standing in front of you, metaphorically but fully. And I'm scared. Scared you'll see me differently. Scared you'll wonder if the man you love even exists. But more than that, I'm scared of losing you without ever giving you the chance to know me fully. The truth is, I'm still learning how to be the man you believe I am. I'm still trying to be worthy of the love you've given me so freely. And I know that means I have to stop hiding. I have to let you see the parts of me that I've kept locked away. Because if you can still love me after that, if you can still look at me and see someone worth fighting for, then maybe, for the first time in my life, I'll start to believe I'm worthy too. Baby, the truth is, I'm a work in progress. I'm not perfect, I'm not even close, but I'm yours if you'll still have me. And if you'll take my hand now, knowing the weight of what it carries, then I promise you'll have all of me, not just the safe parts. Baby, you think you know my story, but the truth is, you've only been holding pieces of it, and every piece I've given you, I've made sure it was smooth enough not to cut you. I told myself that was love, protecting you from the worst of me. But deep down, I knew it wasn't love. It was fear. Fear that if you saw me without my armor, you'd walk away before I could explain why I've been carrying it for so long. I've spent years perfecting the version of me that you've met, and while that man is real, he's not the whole picture. You've seen the smiles, the charm, the way I can make you feel safe in my arms, but you haven't seen the nights I can't sleep because of the ghosts in my head. You haven't seen the moments I've stood in front of a mirror, unable to look myself in the eyes because I'm ashamed of the choices I've made. I wasn't always this guarded, baby. There was a time I loved recklessly, spoke without filtering, trusted without questioning, and it nearly destroyed me. I gave my heart to people who used it like currency, and when it ran out, they left me broken. Every scar you can't see is a reminder of a time I believed in someone who didn't believe in me. And when you came into my life, shining like you did, I made a decision without even realizing it. I will never let them see my weakness. But here's the problem with that. I confused weakness with honesty. I thought hiding my pain would make me stronger, when in reality, it just built a wall between us that even your love couldn't climb. I know you felt it, baby. That small, unspoken space between us that you couldn't name. You've probably asked yourself if it was something you did, or something you failed to do. But it was never you. It was me. I've been standing in the doorway of my own heart, letting you in just far enough to feel close, but never far enough to see the rooms I keep locked. And now, I'm realizing that love like ours can't survive that way. It's suffocating inside the limits I've built. There are things I need to tell you. Things that will make you see me differently. I've hurt people I swore I'd protect. I've walked away from love when it got too heavy to carry. I've chosen the easy way out instead of the right way more times than I care to admit. And sometimes I've been so afraid of being abandoned that I pushed people away just to control when the goodbye would happen. If you knew the whole story, you might wonder how I could ever deserve the kind of love you've given me. That's what terrifies me. Because the truth is, I don't know if I do deserve it, but I want to try to be worthy of it. Of you, baby. I'm standing here now, ready to take the risk I've avoided for so long. I'm ready to show you the man behind the mask. The man with flaws so deep they could swallow us both if we're not careful. But I believe in you. I believe in the way you see me, the way you make me want to be better, And I believe that maybe, just maybe, if I let you in all the way, you won't run. You'll stay. You'll fight for me, even when I'm not sure how to fight for myself. If you'll still have me after this, then you won't just be loving the man you thought I was. You'll be loving the man I really am. And that's the only way this love will ever truly survive. Baby, I know you've been waiting for me to just spill everything. But the truth isn't a quick confession. It's a story. One that's been tangled through years of choices, mistakes, and the moments I wish I could rewrite. Every time I tried to tell you, the words would catch in my throat because I could already see the way they might change the way you look at me. And that terrified me more than anything. I've been living with this shadow for so long that it feels like a part of me. But I've learned that the longer you let shadows stay, the more they start to control you. You deserve to know the man you've been giving your heart to, not the curated version, not the polished one, but the raw, unedited truth of me. When we met, you made me feel something I hadn't felt in years. Safe. Not safe in the way a locked door feels, but safe like home feels. That's why I tried so hard to be perfect for you. I didn't want to give you a reason to leave, but being perfect meant hiding the parts of me that weren't pretty. The temper I fought to control, the regrets I bury so deep I sometimes forget they're there until they come rushing back in the middle of the night. I thought love was about giving you only the best of me, but I see now that real love is letting you see the whole me, even the parts that scare me. I've been the hero in some stories, baby, but I've been the villain in others. There were times I said words I can't take back, moments I let silence speak louder than my heart. Times I turned my back on someone who needed me because I didn't know how to show up. And the most painful truth, some of those people loved me the way you love me now. I've always told myself that I've changed, that I've grown, but the past has a way of whispering in your ear, telling you that you're still the same. And that's the war I've been fighting. Against myself. Against the version of me that hurt people without meaning to, that ran from love because it felt too heavy. When you touched my hand that first time, I felt something shift, and it scared me so much that a part of me wanted to run again. But this time, I didn't. I stayed. And that choice alone has been teaching me that maybe I can write a different ending this time. But staying doesn't mean I've been honest. There's still more you need to know about who I really am, and why I've been so afraid to let you all the way in. And baby, once I tell you, you'll have a choice. Walk away from the real me, or stay and fight for him. I can't promise it'll be easy, but I can promise this. If you stay, you'll never have to wonder again who you're really loving. Baby, I need you to hear this part without looking away, without letting your mind wander, because this is the part where the walls I've built start to come down. You've only ever seen me through the windows I've chosen to open, but now I'm going to swing the door wide, and what's on the other side might not look like the man you thought you knew. I've worn masks so well that sometimes even I forget they're masks. Smiles that hide the sleepless nights, confidence that covers the quiet self-doubt, laughter that drowns out the echoes of my own mistakes. You've been loving the version of me I've curated for you, and part of me has been selfish enough to let you keep believing in that version. because I was afraid you'd walk away from the truth. The truth is, baby, I've been both the storm and the shelter. I've been the reason someone stayed awake crying, and I've been the reason someone felt safe enough to sleep. I've said the wrong thing at the worst time, and I've stood silent when my words could have healed. I've been loyal in ways you'd admire, and careless in ways that would make you question my heart. I carry the weight of those contradictions every single day, and every time you looked at me like I was the man who could never hurt you, it only made the weight heavier. You don't know how many times I've sat there, phone in hand, ready to type out the confession, to tell you that I failed before, that I've made promises I couldn't keep, that there are people out there who could tell you stories about me that would make your chest tighten. But every time, I deleted the words, because what if knowing the truth made you stop seeing me as the one? What if the man you've been picturing in your future suddenly turned into a stranger? I didn't want to risk it, until now, until I realized that loving you while hiding from you isn't really love at all. I've always been afraid of losing people, but with you, the fear is different. It's not just losing you, it's losing the way you see me. But baby, if we're going to survive, I can't let you love a lie, so I'm going to keep talking. Even if my voice shakes, I'm going to tell you the things that don't paint me as the hero. Because if you can love me through those, then maybe this time, I have finally found a love that's real. And when I'm done, I won't ask you to promise me anything. I'll just ask you to decide. Will you love the man I really am? Or will you let the idea of me go? Either way, you'll know the truth, and I'll never again have to hide behind the version of me that was only meant to protect my heart. Baby, I know you've been waiting for the moment when everything becomes clear, when the fog between us lifts and you can finally see me as I really am. But here's the part I've dreaded saying, the part I've rehearsed 1,000 times in my head but never let cross my lips. You've been loving a version of me that's been edited, trimmed, carefully framed to hide the shadows. I've let you fall for the light without showing you the cracks where it struggles to shine. And every time you've looked at me with those eyes, believing I could never disappoint you, it's been like a knife twisting. Because I've known the truth, I've kept from you. The truth is, I'm not spotless. I've walked roads that I'd rather no one retrace. I've made choices that would make you question how I could ever stand here and tell you I love you. I've been the reason someone's trust shattered. I've been the one who turned away when someone needed me most. And yet, I've also been the man who stayed when everyone else left, who protected when it wasn't easy, who gave more than he had because it was the right thing to do. I am a mix of mistakes and redemption, a contradiction that I've never let you see in full. You've only known the chapters I was willing to read aloud, the victories, the softer moments, the parts that made me look strong. But there's an entire section of my story that I've kept locked away, afraid that opening it would change how you feel. I've hidden the moments where I lost myself, where I let pride guide me into silence instead of speaking the truth, where I pretended not to care so I wouldn't have to admit I was hurting. And maybe you're wondering why I'm telling you now. It's because I've realized something. If you're loving me without knowing all of me, then I'm not really giving you the choice to love me as I am. I'm giving you the illusion of choice. And that's not love, not the kind that lasts. So here it is, raw and unpolished. I've been selfish, I've been afraid, I've been a coward in moments where I should have been brave. But baby, I've also been learning, fighting, growing, and every single step I've taken since meeting you has been toward becoming the kind of man you deserve. I can't promise you perfection, but I can promise you truth, even when it's hard, even when it risks everything. If you can hear this and still see me, not as the perfect man you thought I was, but as the flawed one standing here now, then maybe what we have is stronger than I ever imagined. Because if you can hold my truth without letting go of my hand, then maybe this isn't the end of us. Maybe it's the real beginning. Baby, maybe it's the real beginning. Or maybe it's the point where everything I thought I was collapses in front of me. I can't tell anymore, because for the longest time, I've been playing a part. Not because I wanted to lie to you, but because I thought that if you saw the real me, the broken pieces, the moments of shame I keep hidden, you'd pull away. I thought you needed the strong version of me, the one who always knows what to say, the one who never falters, never shows the storm inside. But the truth, that storm has been roaring for years. And now I'm standing in front of you without that mask, terrified you'll see too much, terrified you'll look at me and say, I don't know who you are anymore, because maybe you never really did. You see, I've been carrying this weight that has shaped everything I've said to you, every decision I've made about us. It's the reason I've pulled back when you got too close, the reason I've gone silent when you wanted answers. I didn't want to be exposed. I didn't want you to see the part of me that doubts if I'm even worthy of the love you give so effortlessly. There's this shadow that's followed me for years. Mistakes I made before I met you. Promises I broke to people who believed in me. Moments where I chose the easy way out instead of standing and fighting for what was right. And I thought, if you saw that version of me, you'd walk away without looking back. But baby, every time I tried to hide it, you'd look at me with those eyes that see straight through every wall I put up, and it scared me. It scared me because it made me realize you already sensed there was more to my story, and maybe you were just waiting for me to say it. So here it is, the truth. I'm not the person you thought you fell in love with. I've been broken, I've been selfish, I've been reckless with people's hearts, including my own. And sometimes I'm still that person when the fear takes over. But I'm also the person who has spent every single day since meeting you trying to be better, because you make me want to rise above every piece of my past. I remember the first night I realized I loved you. Not the moment I thought you were attractive or interesting, the moment I knew you had the power to change everything for me. It was quiet, almost nothing special from the outside. You were just laughing at something small, the kind of laugh that comes from deep down when you're not performing for anyone. And I remember thinking, if they ever looked at me the way they're smiling right now, I'd give them every piece of my life. But even then, I knew the risk. I knew that loving you would mean letting you close enough to see the parts of me I didn't want anyone to see. And now here we are, me stripped down to nothing but the truth, asking you if you can still love me after knowing this. Do you remember the times I would pull away for no reason? You'd text me something sweet, and I'd leave it unread for hours, not because I didn't care, but because I cared too much, and I didn't know how to respond without letting everything spill out. I'd be sitting there, staring at my phone, feeling the words trapped in my throat, terrified that if I said the wrong thing, you'd see through me. You'd realize I wasn't as put together as I made myself out to be. Baby, those moments weren't about you doing something wrong. They were about me drowning in my own fear. There's a part of me that wishes I could go back and tell you everything from the start. But I also know, if I had, we might not be here now. Maybe you would have thought I was too much to handle. Or maybe you would have loved me anyway, like you always do. That's the thing about you. You've never asked for perfect. You've only ever wanted real. And here I am, finally giving you that, even if it costs me everything. The truth I've been hiding isn't just about my past. It's about my heart. About how deep this goes for me. About how sometimes loving you feels like both the safest place I've ever been and the most dangerous risk I've ever taken. Because I know if I lose you, I won't just lose someone I care about. I'll lose the one person who saw me for who I could be, not just who I was. And that's the kind of loss you never recover from. So now, I'm asking you, not as the version of me you met, but as the person I truly am. Can you still love me after this? Can you still look at me and see the same person you saw before you knew all of this? Because baby, I'm standing here, hands shaking, heart exposed, knowing that whatever happens next will change everything. And even though I'm terrified, I had to tell you, because you deserve the truth, and maybe, just maybe, I deserve the chance to be loved for who I really am. Baby, I wish I could tell you this without my voice trembling, without my chest feeling like it's caving in. But every time I look at you, I know you deserve the truth in its rawest, most unpolished form. I've been sitting with this weight for so long that it's shaped the way I breathe, the way I move, the way I love you. You've only ever seen the parts of me I felt safe showing. But there's a whole side I've kept hidden because I was terrified it would change the way you look at me forever. And yet here I am, knowing that if I don't tell you now, it'll rot me from the inside out. There were days when I'd wake up and want nothing more than to call you, to let you into my messy thoughts, to confess that the confident version you see is often just me running from the parts of my past I can't rewrite. But instead, I'd force a smile, send you something light, and hope you wouldn't notice the shadows in between my words. I thought I was protecting you from my storms. But baby, what I've come to realize is that I was only building a wall between us. And that wall, no matter how much I tried to decorate it with good moments and laughter, was still keeping you from my truest self. I've hurt people before, not always on purpose, but enough that the guilt still follows me like a shadow. I've made promises I didn't keep. I've chosen silence when I should have fought for someone. I've walked away when I should have stayed. And the truth is, I never wanted to do any of that with you. That's why I hid it all, because I didn't want you to think I was capable of letting you down in the same way. I thought if I could just keep you believing in the best parts of me, you'd never have to question if I was worth loving. But real love, the kind I've only felt with you, doesn't survive on half-truths. It needs the whole messy, imperfect, unfiltered truth. And that's what I'm finally giving you. You've probably felt it. The way I sometimes look at you like I'm memorizing you. That's because deep down, I've been afraid you'd leave if you knew too much. I'd study the way your hands move when you talk, the little tilt of your head when you're listening, the way you smile when you're trying not to. Because I thought one day I might have to live without it. That fear is exhausting, baby. It's drained me. And I'm done letting it control me. This is who I am. Flawed, stubborn, scared at times, but loving you more deeply than I've ever loved anyone. I'm the person who overthinks every word I say to you because I want to get it right. I'm the person who sometimes disappears not because I don't care, but because I care so much I'm afraid of saying something wrong. I'm the person who's been building a future in my head with you, even when I pretended I wasn't thinking that far ahead. And yes, I'm the person with a past that's not clean, with scars that still ache, with regrets that keep me up at night. But I'm also the person who's willing to stand here, completely exposed, and tell you I want you to love me, knowing all of this, not despite it. And maybe that's the scariest part. Not that you'll judge me, but that you'll look at me the same way you always have, and I'll finally have to believe I'm worthy of it. Because baby, that's a kind of love I've never let myself have before. And you're the only one who's ever made me want to risk it. Baby, there's a reason I always looked away when you tried to look too deeply into my eyes. It wasn't because I didn't want you there. It was because I was afraid of what you'd see if you looked long enough. You'd see the cracks I've tried to seal with charm and half smiles. You'd see the nights I couldn't sleep because I kept replaying every wrong decision I've ever made. You'd see the truth that's been screaming inside me while I've been whispering everything else. And that truth is, I've been living in two worlds. The one I let you see, and the one I've kept locked away, terrified it would change everything between us. When I met you, you were like sunlight pouring into a room I'd kept dark for years. I wanted to bask in it, to feel it warm my skin, but I also didn't want you to notice how cold I'd been before you came. So I smiled wider, laughed louder, and let you believe that was all of me. And baby, I know now that wasn't fair, because love, the real, earth-shaking kind that changes your soul, demands all of you, not just the parts you've polished. The truth is, there are pieces of me shaped by pain. I've been betrayed, abandoned, lied to by people I thought would stand by me forever. And in my darkest moments, I promised myself I'd never let anyone get close enough to hurt me like that again. That's why I've been holding back. Not because you haven't earned my trust, but because my heart still flinches at the thought of being vulnerable. But somewhere along the way, you broke through that armor without even trying. And now I stand here, stripped of all my defenses, realizing that the risk of losing you scares me more than the risk of being hurt again. There are nights I replay the first time I realized I was falling for you. I remember the way you said my name, like it belonged to you. I remember thinking, if they ever walk away, I'll never be the same. And that terrified me, baby. It terrified me so much that I started hiding my real fears and flaws, thinking I could keep you close by showing you only the best parts of me. But what I've learned is this: hiding who I am doesn't protect me from losing you. It guarantees it. So here it is, the unfiltered truth. I'm not perfect. I overthink. I get jealous. I carry insecurities from old wounds that still ache. Sometimes I shut down when I should open up. I can be stubborn when I'm scared. And yes, I've made mistakes that haunt me. But I'm also the person who loves you so fiercely that I'd burn every bridge that leads me away from you. I'm the person who wants to wake up every day and earn the right to be beside you. I'm the person who, no matter what storms hit us, will choose you over and over again. If you're still here after hearing all this, then maybe I've been wrong about myself all along. Maybe I'm not someone who has to keep their love hidden to protect it. Maybe I'm someone who was meant to be known completely by you. And baby, if you can love the real me, the messy, scarred, imperfect me, then I'll spend the rest of my life proving you were right to stay. Baby, if you've stayed with me through every word of this, it means you've seen the cracks and still chosen to hold me together. And for that, I can't thank you enough. You've been my safe place when my own mind has felt like a storm. You've been my reason to keep opening up when every instinct told me to close the door. You've been the light that refused to burn out even on my darkest nights. Oh, so here we are, the moment where I stand completely uncovered before you. No masks, no rehearsed lines, no selective truths. Just me, with all the love I've been carrying and all the flaws I've been afraid to show. I can't promise I'll never stumble or never get scared again, but I can promise that I'll keep fighting for us. I'll keep choosing honesty over comfort and you over fear. And I need you to know something before I let you go tonight. Your support doesn't just change me emotionally. It keeps me going in ways you can't imagine. Every time you watch till the very end, every comment you leave, every little gesture, it matters more than you think. If my words have touched you, if you felt seen in this, then I'm asking from my heart, please consider pressing that super thanks button. Even a small one is huge for me right now, but if you're able to give more, even $100, 0 cents, just know it's not just support. It's an act that keeps me here, creating, sharing, and loving openly. Your presence here means I'm not speaking into an empty space. I'm speaking to you. And maybe that's all I ever needed to finally be the real me. Baby, thank you for letting me be that. Thank you for loving me through my truth. And no matter what tomorrow brings, you'll always have a piece of me that's yours forever.